Been on the Board of Commissioners now since 2004. Somebody else can do the math for me. But the reason why the Commissioners this evening decided to move forward with this forum is it has been historic here in Washington County that the University of Maine at Machias, and for those who might know John Reisman, John always, one of the professors up there, always set up these candidate forums. Well, John Reisman retired this year, and well, they haven't handed the baton off quite yet to who is going to pick up the long-standing tradition at the University of Maine at Machias for these type of forums. So the Commissioners decided that we would stand up. Go up. We would stand up and have the opportunity to help host this forum. You know, it's been often said in, every election, we always say this is the most important election of our lifetime. We've always heard that much overused statement, but the reality is it's always true, because every election is, in that moment, the most important election of our lifetime. There is a lot at stake. Everybody knows that there are a lot of issues that are being talked about at both the national and the localized level, and as a result, we thought as county commissioners that, and none of us running with opposition, was perfect for us to hear from each and every one of you who has taken the opportunity and, quite honestly, thrown your hat into the ring. Politics, as much as we like to have quite a few jokes about politicians and lawyers of such, make no mistake, it's a tough profession, and it's getting even tougher and tougher each and every day, and you got to have nerves of steel and a tougher skin at times in order to even throw yourself into this. So on behalf of all of those that you may or may not end up serving, I'm sure we all offer you our appreciation. So with that, tonight's forum, I will tell you how we're going to go ahead about and do this. I want to take a moment, and I want to thank two people that helped really do an awful lot to set this up. Former Senator Dave Burns has been very, very helpful in this, and also County Manager Betsy Fitzgerald. Where did Betsy? There she is. Sorry, I looked right over the top of you, Betsy. We're very and helpful in getting this set up. So I want to put this, I guess, but I don't want to make it that formalized. But the format of tonight's forum is going to be such that we're going to ask each and every one of the candidates. We'll go down the line. You can introduce yourself, obviously the office that you're running for, and we're going to give you a 3-minute opening statement. Senator Burns has been gracious enough to handle the timing, and he'll bring a microphone to you that you can speak into. That microphone is super important in the sense that it's not necessarily for the people of this room, but Lupe Soto of WQDY and other great treasures is going to be recording this event for this evening so it can be rebroadcast. So it's not just the people in this room that you're speaking to, but it's all those who will be seeing it afterwards, and that is why the microphone is so important. And with the 3 minutes, it's like the Academy Awards, so to speak. We don't have any music to start playing when it's time to wrap it up. But what's going to happen is Senator Burns, when you see him stand up and start walking back towards you, you got about 15 seconds. So you may want to hit the final boosters and get that thing over the line. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, if there aren't any, I can't think of anything I've forgotten, Dave. I think we're in good stead. And I would like to start on the far end. And if you would, Senator Burns. Oh, one more thing. I have to do this. Tonight, we have a couple of people that could not make it, and they send their apologies. Representative Tracy Quint had a legislative matter that needed to be attended to. Matt Foster, current DA, said he had another conflict. And another snafu that I will take full blame for is, I don't know who Andrew Pratt is. And nobody in this room knows who Andrew Pratt is, but Roy Gott, who is actually the person running in House District 12 as unenrolled, is here this evening. So I offer the apologies that somehow that slipped through. So with that correction, I yield. Senator Burns. Please.
Oh, I was afraid you were going to drop the mic. Okay. I want to start by thanking the county commissioners for organizing this forum, to the school here for providing space, and to all the people who have come to attend. My name is Jonathan Goebel. I'm running for the State Senate and Senate District 6. And about me, I enlisted in the Army, served 3 tours in Vietnam as an infantry officer. Later, while still in the service, I trained as a psychologist, and for the last 10 of the 23 years I was in the service, provided mental health care to service members and their families. On leaving the service, I shifted and served, well, still some active service members, but also more than a few civilians. In both of these careers, it was clearly not enough to just talk about problems. Required was helping people to meet the challenges they face. And as a legislator, I want to be part of helping create the conditions that allow people and the communities to succeed at meeting the challenges facing them. I look forward to working in the Senate representing people whose livelihoods depend on the coastal fisheries, the family farms, the lumber and hospitality industries. These are truly all part of what makes Maine life known worldwide.
Thank you.
Well, as mentioned, my name is Marion Moore, and I currently reside in Calais. I am running for the Maine Senate District 6, which includes all of Washington County and 16 communities in eastern Hancock County as well. I am currently in my second term as a state senator, serving as the Senate lead on the Health and Human Services Committee, and am seeking re-election in November of 2022. To tell you a little bit about myself, I moved to Maine in April of 2001 from Dallas, Texas. Dallas to Calais is my claim to fame. Since my move to Calais, I've been very active in the community, serving on a variety of civic and community organizations representing Washington County throughout the state. I previously served 9 years on the Calais City Council, 4 years as the mayor of Calais, and was the former owner-manager of the Curves Fitness Center in Calais. I previously worked for Healthy Acadia as one of the Washington County cancer patient navigators, where I helped address the complex barriers to short and long-term care faced by cancer patients in Washington County. On a personal note, I always like to share a little bit. I am proudly the mother of 2 grown women, 2 granddaughters, a grandson, a great-granddaughter, and a great-grandson, all residing in Texas. And I have a cat named Gizmo. Education-wise, I have a Bachelor of Applied Arts and Sciences degree from Dallas Baptist University in Dallas, which took me 18 years to achieve as a working single mom. I then went on to complete my Master of Business Administration from Southern Methodist University in Dallas as well. For fun, I have climbed to the summit of Mount Kilimanjaro in Africa. I climbed a base camp on Mount Everest in Nepal, and I've hiked the Inca Trail in Peru, besides several hikes to our own summit at Mount Catawba. In addition to my 13 years of local public service, I also bring to the table more than 30 years of corporate experience, having retired from AT&T Communications in 2000, along with more than 12 years as a small business owner and 3 years as an instructor at Washington County Community College. I look forward to your questions this evening. Thank you.
One coffee on myself. My name is Jake, John Chambers. My friends all call me Jake. I've lived in Washington County my entire life, except for the time I was in the military, serving overseas. And growing up in Calais and in Washington County was an experience of itself. And for those of you that aren't from Washington County, you've missed out on a lot not growing up here. I'm married. I have 3 children, I have 5 grandchildren. And my wife and I, when we got married 50 years ago, we had $15 between the two of us and nobody to help us. And at that point in time, we were both young and naive, and we worked at various jobs, and then we realized that, you know, we wanted more for our children, just like I'm sure all of you do. And so we started our working career. My wife had Air Masters in Calais for 35 years. I had various jobs. I worked for, I think my first job that I had after I got out of service, I worked for Androx, plumbing and heating in Calais. I'm 14 years as a volunteer firefighter in Calais. I had 3.5 years in the Calais Police Department. I probably had more jobs than most people in Washington County. I've been a plumber, I've done carpentry work, I've built houses, and I've worked over at the Cutler Navy base over there as a firefighter. I went from there to the U.S. Postal Service. I worked there for 3 years, and I went from there to U.S. Customs. I retired from Customs in 2012. My wife and I, we built a very successful assisted living business while we were both still working our full-time jobs. And we decided that we wanted to go full-time into the assisted living business because of the demand, and we expanded into 3 other counties throughout the state of Maine. We just sold our business in August 1st, so I'm looking forward to being your representative in Augusta.
Good evening. I'm Ann Perry, and I am presently state representative for District 140 and running for, and I will name the towns, Grand Lake Stream, Indian Township, Baileyville, Barron, Calais, Meddybemps, Robbinston, Perry, Pleasant Point, and Eastport. A few towns going down the St. Croix River. I have had the pleasure of serving as state representative for the last 6 years. However, I did serve for 8 years previously between 2003 and 2010 and turned out again. I will start by, I grew up in Winterport, Maine. When I graduated from high school, there were 16 students in my class. Went to the University of Maine in Orono and graduated with my bachelor's degree in nursing and worked in nursing for 28 years. And then went back and got my master's as a nurse practitioner at the age of 50. I had the pleasure of coming to Calais for my first job as a nurse practitioner. I fell in love with the area and with Washington County. Why? Because what I saw is such a cultural diversity that really made it a place to be and work. We have the blueberry barrens, we have the fishing, we have the mill, we have another country just across the river. And it offers just great opportunity to work with people. When I first came, I started discovering the problems that we were having, and this is around 2000, with substance abuse, that really got me active in what is happening in our area and with our children. As a result of that, a group of us got together and created an organization called Neighbors Against Drug Abuse, because there was no treatment, there was no counseling that related to substance abuse and those issues at that time. And as a result of that, we did bring treatment to the area. And thank heaven, there was a drug court starting up at that time as well, which was a gift, quite honestly, for what we were doing. Somebody asked me to run for state representative, and my first thought was, I can't do that, I have to work. And I think probably most of us have thought that. But we did. And the first bill I ever introduced, because it was so needed, because prescription drugs were the problem, is the prescription monitoring program. And we use that today. And it has helped, but it has not taken care of the problem. I have had the pleasure of continuing to work with the legislature on this, on issues around healthcare in rural areas, because I've served on Health and Human Services and Insurance and Financial Services. I have also been brought up as a person to celebrate in the community, to participate in a community, being on school boards and other boards in the area. I want to thank you for the time, because he's standing up.
Hello, I am Representative Billy Bob Falconer from Winter Harbor. I'm married and I have 3 children. I have served 2 terms in the legislature. I'm running for my 3rd term. And I have a very good record of accomplishments in the legislature. Passed some big bills in the last legislature, one of which was right to food, which was a statewide, went on the statewide ballot. I have passed a first in the nation ban on civil asset forfeiture, where we even got rid of the federal asset sharing program, so to make sure that people don't lose their possessions without just cause happening. I passed after 15 years of broken promises by politicians in Augusta, I was able to enter a floor amendment to increase retired teachers' health insurance from 45% to 55%. We were able to do that at 0 cost to the taxpayers because of savings that were made in the program. That was a big delivery. That's part of the reason why I'm the only Republican in Maine that was endorsed by the Maine Education Association. I have supported law enforcement by passing a bill to make our roads safer by excluded drivers from insurance cards, which essentially is when uninsured people were driving cars with false insurance card. We made a law that those drivers would be included on the insurance card. And I passed a bill for the legal defense fund of the lobster industry. That was a bill that, in case I haven't stated it already, but I'm a Republican in the minority party. The Democrats control the House, the Democrat, and the governor. I was still able to pass all these bills coming from the majority, which I think is a testament to my ability to get things done. And as a matter of fact, I was able to get so much consensus from the legislature in the House and the Senate that we passed that legal defense fund bill without the governor's signature. She didn't even sign that bill, but she didn't veto it because it had so much support in the legislature. The same with the civil asset forfeiture bill. She didn't sign that bill, she didn't support it, but she didn't veto it because we had so much support in the legislature. And that's the type of work that I've been doing in Augusta, and because of the support I've had from my Republican colleagues down there who were big in helping get that retired teachers' health insurance through, we've been able to have success. So I can just imagine if we've done that much in the minority, how much we could get if you give us the majority.
Thank you. My name is Bob Granger. I'm from Blue Hill. I'm the independent candidate for district attorney. I guess if I can tell you a little bit about myself, it would take longer than 3 minutes, but I'll try and summarize. I've been an attorney, trial attorney for 31 years. I've practiced since 1995 at Acadia Law Group in Arroy, Beardsley, Williams, and Granger in Ellsworth. I've also, in 1996, I was appointed by the Chief Judge as the Justice of the Peace. That's the person that, when the judges are sleeping or off on weekends, I get to sign all the search warrants and arrest warrants. I've been the critical incident response attorney for Maine State Troopers, and then subsequently retained by virtually every law enforcement group in the state. In that capacity, I respond to police shootings. I represent the officers in the Attorney General investigations that follow. I've gotten to know a lot of law enforcement because of those types of jobs. I've been endorsed by the Fraternal Order of Police for this position, and that includes the Washington County Sheriff's Deputies and the Machias Police Patrol. It's law enforcement that actually got me to run for this job. They've been bugging me for 10 years to do it. And I put it off because I had a successful private practice. And it's hard to leave something you've built. And I finally have a position where I can move on. All of a sudden, it's about to graduate from college. My mortgage is paid off, and so I could afford to take a bit of a pay cut. So I'm looking forward to that opportunity. Just a couple other things. I worked as a law clerk in the U.S. Court of Appeals, the 10th Circuit. I wrote drafted opinions for 3 judge panels in criminal appeals in the federal court, including death penalty cases. I've got a little bit of some other experiences. I was an airline pilot, a freight pilot, a flight instructor. I fought forest fires for the U.S. Forest Service out west, and I was a farrier. I could go on that list as well. I painted houses, built houses. A lot of my background is a lot like this gentleman right here. Done a lot more things than a lot of people. So I'd appreciate your vote, consideration. I have some cards over here that give an outline of my background, some of the things I'd like to accomplish, and I look forward to the challenge. Thank you.
My name is Kevin Ritchie. I live in Lee, and I'm a candidate for House District 8, which is, you can follow my map, Stacy Mill, Sherman area, south to Lee, across the Canadian border in Vanceboro, up to Hodgson and back across, about 55 plus towns and unorganized territories. I've been a career educator and owned some small businesses. I worked at Lee Academy for 35 years, Job Corps Center in Bangor for 2 years, Maine Indian Education for 3 years. I'm a modestly okay framing carpenter, so I build cabinets in the woods. My little sawmill, I like to mill wood and do that. I grew up in this region. My father was restless, so I lived in Greenville and Guilford and Hamden and ended up in Patton, which is kind of where I consider to be my home. I graduated from Godin High School and went to the University of Maine. I've lived in the Springfield Lee area since 1981. My brother and I owned the Springfield Fairgrounds together for 16 years, which was a very unique business to own and manage. Had a wonderful time with that, did a lot of things with and for community members through that. I never had any desire to be a politician. I had a couple of former students say to a gentleman in the Democratic Party, I'm an independent-minded Democrat, by the way, say, go call Mr. Rich, he's fair-minded and he'd work hard if he would do this. And when your kids grow up, you don't dismiss that. So I thought about it and decided I would give this a shot. I'm very concerned that I've watched the region that I lived in since 1970, starting in Patton, diminish in about every conceivable way because of economics. The mills closed, and slowly people moved away if they could. They got old and retired, they passed away, and I see no reason why there can't be a good handful of jobs, of businesses that employ 10 to 25 people in that region. And I think some things like broadband in that internet desert where I live are absolutely crucial to moving forward. And I'm committed to practical things like that. The polarization of our country politically terrifies me and angers me, and I'll have none of it. I don't paint people with one brush, Republicans or Democrats. I want to see us move forward. In some ways, I think that makes me a bit of a dinosaur, but I'm a centrist. Like, my friends on the left don't like my politics, my friends on the right don't like my politics, but I think that's where we need to be if we're going to move the country forward. And I appreciate you all being here tonight.
My name is Roy Gott, not Andrew Pratt, and I'm the unenrolled independent for House District 12, which includes the Steuben as the one component from Washington County and 6 other towns in Hancock County. I'm a resident of Franklin and a lifelong resident. I attended Sumner Memorial High School, graduated in 2000, went to the University of Maine, graduated in 2004, and I realized just how much I valued this area. I had a number of classmates that went out abroad in the country, different countries, and I really value the character of this area, so I stuck around. My business is computers. I go to work for each of the towns in my district, and including the towns Steuben, town Village as well. I do their computer work, I maintain their systems, and I make sure that they have what they need to get the work done for the communities that they themselves serve. And, I always look at what are the needs of the town and try and find the best solution for them, something that's economical and responsible to the communities. So that's the mindset that I always bring to these scenarios. I also, for 16 years, worked at a business in Bar Harbor, and for about 10 or 11 of those years was the manager in charge of many of the day-to-day operations. And my current employer is the Schoodic Institute in Winter Harbor. I'm the IT manager there. Since 2012, I've served on the board for the Regional School Unit 24 Board of Directors, and since 2016 as its chair. And currently, I'm sitting on 2 broadband committees, the Schoodic Peninsula Broadband Committee and the Franklin Broadband Committee, and reaching out to other area districts and towns to see about potential for regional efforts for expansion of broadband to support the economy of our area. So that's a little bit about me. And thank you all for being here and being part of the political process, educating yourselves on our positions. And thank you for the organizers. Thank you.
Hi everyone, good evening. A big thank you to the Washington County Commissioners and Chris Gardner for sponsoring this event and the invitation to speak with you all tonight. My name is Melissa Hinerman and I'm running for House District 10. I'm very proud to say that I'm a multi-generational Downeaster. I grew up in Machiasport as well as both of my parents, Mike and Mary, one from the east side and one from the west. Since announcing my candidacy, I've been asked numerous times why I'm running as an independent. Short answer, because I am one. There are so many of us that agree with ideologies on both sides of the aisle. The two-party system is becoming more and more divisive with each passing day. I don't think I'm wrong in saying that so many of us are so tired of party politics. I'm an independent thinker, and it completely depends on what the topic of discussion is. It doesn't matter to me what party has a great idea. A great idea is a great idea. This is my first attempt at running for an elected office. Even though I am an inexperienced representative, I have had so many relevant life experiences. I graduated from Washington Academy toward the top of my class and went on to earn a Bachelor's of Science degree in Business Administration and a minor in Sociology from Southern New Hampshire University. I'm also a 2021 Emerge Maine graduate, a program that trains women to run for political office. I've made a career in the hospitality industry. There's a good chance I may have served you dinner at Joyce's Lobster House, the Bluebird, or Helen's once or twice. I've spoken with countless people over the years, and this has really afforded me the opportunity to connect with my community and get to know them. I have also worked closely with Machias Rotary Club. I'm a member of the American Legion Post 9 in Machias, and I'm the sole organizer of the Bad Little Falls Wild Blueberry Ball, a dress-up dance party for all, formerly known as the Black Fly Ball. I was also very involved with trying to save the Downey's Correctional Facility when it legally closed in 2018. My entire life, I've always been on some sort of team, whether it be academic, work-related, or extracurricular. I consider that an essential trait for this position. It's imperative to be able to work as a team to formulate and implement common sense solutions that benefit the constituency. I'm also extremely capable and adaptable. I'm proficient on the computer, which I also think is extremely vital for this position we are vying for. I have confidence in knowing that I can be a good representative for us. Here's a quick list of other things that I'm adamant about conserving and defending. Our Second Amendment rights. The day that this is infringed upon is the day that our republic starts to crumble. Medical freedom and bodily autonomy, which includes eliminating vaccine mandates and getting our people back to work.
Sorry, you've gone over your time.
I have? Well, I had a lot more to say.
Give me an opportunity.
But I hope I earned your vote on November 8th.
Thank you. You couldn't have timed that any better, Jay.
That used to be a $5
I'm
fee.
Ken Bucket Davis. I'm running for House District 10. I've been a long life Downeaster who has worked in the local schools for 45 years, and I've actually chaired the East Machias Board of Selectmen for 2 decades, and still am a select person. And I'm fighting hard for the area schools, small towns, property rights, and hard-working Downeasters living on a fixed income who are fed up with the high cost of gas and food, and one size fits all out of Augusta. This will always be my top priority if you vote for me this fall. My father was in the Korean War, and I have a son that's a police officer who works for the Washington County Sheriff's Department, and my youngest son is a civil engineer. And I'm a proud supporter of the veterans and the armed forces, and the law enforcement, and the Down East way that we fought so hard to protect. And I would appreciate your vote. I believe it's the 8th. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Representative Mickey Carmichael. I will tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a small businessman. I have a family of 4 children. I married my wife in 1977. Kids are all grown, and I'm a proud grandparent of what will be our 12th grandchild in December. And actually, that's kind of how I decided to run in 2020. Every Friday night we have a family dinner, and as always, politics gets brought up. And I looked at my grandkids, and I thought, you know, if I don't stop talking and start doing, and bring what I can to Augusta, then what kind of state are they going to grow up in? So that motivated me to get going on, you know, running for office. In 1986, I started a transportation business with a contract with the Postal Service. I started with 1 truck that I drove, and the next 35 years, I was able to grow that to 65 trucks and 100 employees. You know, it takes a lot of business sense to be able to grow a business like that. And I chose the taxation committee to serve on because I think that same sense with money can help bring some common sense to taxation in Maine, which I think is out of control. So I hope that you'll consider voting for me in November 8th. And I'll do all I can to earn that vote.
My name is Tim Throckmorton. I'm running for the new House District 18. I live in Dedham. One end of the district is where Vicky lives in Greenbush, and it comes all the way over to Washington County, which is Cherryfield and a couple of other towns. I met Mickey today. I told Mickey when I first met him that I don't feel as though I'm running against Mickey. I feel as though I'm running for the people in my district. So I've enjoyed Mickey. We had a couple of words, and I appreciate meeting you today, Mickey. So thanks very much. It's nice to sort of know your opponent because it just makes it a lot easier to sort of go out and do your polling. I live in Dedham, and I've lived there for 10 years. I'm originally from Bangor. I went to the University of Maine. I had 2 children, and I now have 2 stepchildren, so I have 4 children. 1 got married last year, and 1 will get married next year. Don't have Mickey's herd of 12 grandchildren yet, but hope to be working on that. So, well, they will have to work on that. I think I worked on Channel 5 on TV for 39 years, and I like to think that work was for the community. One of the mantra of the station was that we were a community station. We went out and did things in the public, and I told stories of people that were in our towns. I feel as though I immersed myself in a way that most people don't get a chance to. I thought I knew all the towns around in the district. I did not. I've been to all of them now, And it's been a great growing process for me to realize what we all have here and what people need to stand up for. And we need to stand up for small towns. Small towns need the help. And that's where we live. That's my district. Sort of that's my commitment, is to stand up for all of that. Once again, thank you for having us here all for this forum, and I appreciate meeting all of you too as well. So thank you.
Hey everybody, I'm Tiffany Strout and I'm running for District 11 as House of Representatives. Thank you for having us tonight, and I also want to thank you guys for your service and those in the crowd too for their service. It's very important to recognize military members and their service and what we have for our freedoms today. So thank you for that. I grew up in Harrington, graduated from Narragansett High School, went to the University of Maine at Augusta and received my associates in criminal justice. I went to work at the Jackson Laboratory, which is a different type, but I started in security, so I did use my degree. I worked there 16 years, and then I moved home, worked at Wreaths Across America, I'm the events coordinator now. I work for a startup company out of Ellsworth as well. I'm married to my husband, Zach, for 16 years. He harvests blueberries and is an agricultural, self-employed, plow snow, diesel mechanic, the kind of down east jack of all trades. Our son Connor, which Billy Bob's heard me talk about a lot, we're very proud of him. He's 15 and he wants to be a lobster fisherman. He's worked really hard. He works full-time as a sternman in Dyers Bay, and he has his own boat that he hauls his own traps out of Harrington. So with my background and everything I'm involved in, when I was asked to run for this position, I figured since I have a lot of different hats that I wear, including being on the school board for MSAD 37, that being able to take what I consider to be important things of community, common sense thinking, everyday living, working to earn a living, and could go to Augusta to help represent that for everybody else in my community that doesn't have a chance to go. I took that opportunity to run, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity to do that. Thank you.
I guess I'm last. I'm Skip Rogers. I'm from Jonesport. I jokingly say that I woke up this morning in the same bedroom I was born in. I haven't spent all my time in Jonesport. I went to the Maritime Academy and spent a good portion of my time at sea. That was back during the Vietnam era, and the fleet was getting scrapped, the U.S. fleet. And so I wound up being a tugboat captain and spent many years different places around the world working in the oil field and doing different kinds of work that tugboats do. Anyway, I decided that there might be a better way than going to sea, so I went back to the Maritime Academy and I got a master's degree in business, maritime business actually. And then I went down to the port of Eastport, where I worked closely with some people in this room, and spent about 20 years down there and managed the cargo terminal. The port is a landlord port, and they hired the company that I worked for to actually conduct the business, loading the ships, receiving the cargo, and doing all the things that amount to getting the ships in and out and whatever, and we did a lot of ships in those days. After that, I did go back to sea and was back in the tugboats again. And when it came to, well, running for office, I think that all of us up here probably have a pretty good sense of community service, that we ought to be serving our communities. And it's something that I always wanted to do. And as Robert termed out, and also Will termed out, and they redistrictized, and I wound up campaigning in Machias, as well as everything through to Millbridge, and all things to Seaward, Brooks Bluff, Jonesport, Beals, Addison, and I'm not going to try and name every town. I can, but anyway, there's no point in doing that. But I'm proud to say that I'm trying to get to Augusta to serve the people of Washington County and District 11. And with that, Bob, have I used the time?
Yeah, I think you did it. You did all right.
So, ladies and gentlemen, with that, the first question is going to be one that hits hard and hits home here in Washington County. It's been touched on a little bit. Washington County, unfortunately, has been dubbed by some, including myself, even in the local paper, sadly, of being the murder capital of Maine over this past year. We've seen a record number of homicides that have taken place in our community. Many, but not all, but many associated with the blossoming drug trade that has been overtaking our county. So with that, the question to you in your position, and it's germane to all, is what your thoughts are on this and what you would do to help address these issues in Washington County.